I moved into the apartment on the 3rd floor because it was cheap and close to the university. I wasn't expecting much, just for walls, a roof, and hopefully plumbing that didn't scream in the middle of the night. The building was old, probably mid-70s, but it looked clean and the landlord seemed eager to rent it out. Too eager. Maybe he didn't ask for a deposit. He didn't even check my ID. He just handed me the keys and said, "Welcome. Don't move the furniture." I thought he was joking. The place came a twin bed, a crooked desk, and an old wardrobe that looked like it had been dragged in from a horror movie set. It was huge and bolted to the wall. The moment I stepped into the apartment, I noticed a strange smell. Not strong, not rotting, just musty like old books and wet concrete. I opened every window, even the ones that didn't want to open. After a few hours, the smell faded into the background, like everything else I was trying to ignore. The first few nights were uneventful. I unpacked, got used to the creaking floors, the humming fridge, the occasional thump from the neighbors upstairs. I started classes, got busy, and forgot about the wardrobe entirely, until one night, around 3 a.m. I heard something coming from it. It wasn't a bang, more like a scratching, faint, deliberate, like fingernails on wood, slow and steady. I sat up in bed, unsure if I was dreaming. The sound stopped the moment I turned on the light. I checked the wardrobe, locked it, didn't have a handle, just a keyhole with no key. I tried pulling on it, knocking on it, nothing. It didn't budge. I chalked it up to old wood and a tired mind and went back to sleep. The next night, the scratching returned. The same time, 3 a.m., this time louder. I placed my ear against the wardrobe and heard what sounded like breathing. I stepped back, heart pounding, and told myself it was probably pipes. Old buildings do weird things. I turned on the light and the noise stopped again. It always stopped when I turned on the light. That's what started to freak me out. This continued for 3 nights. Same time, same sound, stop with lights, resume with dark. I asked the landlord about it. He looked at me, eyes suddenly cold, and said, "I told you not to move the furniture." That was all he said before walking away. I began to think maybe there was something behind it. Maybe a vent, a nest, a rat problem. I decided to move it, regardless of his warning. It took me an hour and a crowbar to pry the damn thing from the wall. Behind it was something I didn't expect. A small wooden door, child-sized, sealed shut but not with nails, with something like melted wax, red, hardened. It had symbols carved into it. Symbols I didn't recognize. I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in ghosts or curses or any of that. But something about that door made my skin crawl. I touched it. It was warm. I'm not kidding. It felt like it was alive, pulsing slightly under my fingertips. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. I even tried kicking it, but it held firm. That night, the scratching didn't come. Instead, I heard whispering. I couldn't make out the words. It sounded like multiple voices talking all at once, but they were behind the door, behind that impossible, sealed door. I started recording the sounds. At 3:33 a.m. exactly, the whispers would rise, peak, then stop. One night, I watched the footage. In the background, in the corner of the video, I saw something move, just for a second. A shadow near the door, not mine. I don't know why I did it, but I began staying up every night, just watching. I was tired, losing focus at class, but I couldn't stop. I had to know what was going on. Then one night, everything changed. The door was open. At 3:33 a.m. on the dot, I blinked and it was suddenly ajar. Just a crack. Cold air poured out of it, thick with that same musty smell from the first day. I stood up, grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and approached. There were stairs behind it, crammed, wooden, steep. I looked down, darkness. I hesitated. Every logical part of my brain screaming at me to shut the door and call the police, or maybe a priest. But curiosity is a nasty thing. I stepped inside. The staircase felt endless. Every step creaked beneath my feet, echoing too loudly in the cramped shaft. The walls were narrow, pressing in from both sides, lined with that same waxy substance I saw on the door. My phone's flashlight barely lit the space in front of me, and the air was colder with each step downward. After maybe 20 steps, the staircase ended in a wooden landing and another door. This one was metal, rusted, but with no handle, no keyhole, only a small slit near the top, like a mail slot. I stared at it for a moment, unsure what to do. Then I heard something behind the door. Breathing. Rhythmic. Steady. Deep. It didn't sound human. More like an animal. But not quite. I whispered out, asked if anyone was there. The breathing paused. Then the slot opened from the inside. I didn't see anyone, only darkness behind it. Then something slid out. A piece of paper. It fluttered to the ground, and the slot snapped shut. I picked it up. It was old, yellowed, and the handwriting was shaky, uneven. It read, "Close the door upstairs. It watches you when it's open." My skin went cold. I turned around, but the stairs behind me were gone, replaced by a wall. Solid, seamless. I banged on it. Nothing. I looked back to the metal door, and the slit opened again. A second note slid out. This one was shorter. It knows you're here. I backed away. My phone flickered. The battery was still at 80%, but the light began to dim, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then, behind the door, I heard a new sound. Scraping nails, claws, something sharp dragging slowly across metal. I whispered, asked who was there, what it wanted. The scraping stopped. Then a voice, low and ragged, whispered through the slot, "You brought it." I didn't understand. I said I didn't bring anything. I was just trying to understand what this place was. The voice didn't respond. Instead, the paper slot began sliding open and shut, again and again, like some machine breathing rapidly. Then a new paper appeared. I was too afraid. My body felt frozen, but my eyes moved to the paper and read the words upside down. Turn around. I didn't want to. Every part of me screamed not to, but I turned. The wall that replaced the staircase was open now, and behind it was a room. A wide, circular room, dimly lit by candles lining the floor. The candles flickered in rhythm, like something was breathing with them. I stepped in. The walls were covered in drawings. Dozens, maybe hundreds. All the same face. Wide eyes, no mouth. The figure was drawn over and over, sometimes alone, sometimes watching people sleep, sometimes standing behind children. One drawing in the center showed the wardrobe from my room, the same exact wardrobe, and the face inside it watching. I stumbled back, and the door slammed shut behind me. I was locked in. Then a whisper filled the room, not from any direction. From everywhere. You opened it, you let it see. The drawings began to move. I swear to God, they moved. The faces blinked. Some of them smiled. Only the ones with mouths. Then something emerged from the center of the room. Not physically. It was like a shadow stretching up from the floor, gaining height, shape, no detail, just void. But I felt it look at me. I couldn't run. My legs refused to move. The shadow raised a hand and pointed behind me. I turned the mirror, one I hadn't noticed before. In the reflection, I saw myself, but behind me was the wardrobe. In my room, the shadow was in it, watching, breathing. Then the mirror cracked. The lights went out, and I was somewhere else. Not the room, not the hallway. I was back in my apartment, in my bed. It was morning. Light poured through the window. Everything was normal. But the wardrobe was open. Just a little. I closed it, pushed it against the wall, sat down and tried to breathe. Maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe it was a dream. But then I saw the note. The first one. The paper that had come from the slit, sitting on my desk. Same words, same paper. And beneath it, a second note. One I hadn't picked up. In bold, sharp handwriting. It read, "Tonight, 3:33, it returns." I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I sat in my room with every light on, the wardrobe now bolted shut with whatever nails and screws I could find. I pushed the desk in front of it, then the bed. I wanted to pretend it wasn't real, but the notes were still there. Physical, tangible. And then there were the bruises. Faint marks around my wrists, like something had held me down. I tried to convince myself they were just from bad sleep posture or a nightmare thrashing, but deep down I knew better. I spent the day researching. I scoured the internet, the university library, even old forums filled with conspiracy theorists and paranormal junkies. I found nothing specific about the building. No murders, no cults, no records of hidden rooms. But I did find a recurring phrase across different threads, buried deep in obscure posts. At 3:33 it ceased. The phrase came up in stories of sleep paralysis. Even one account from the 80s about a tenant who disappeared from a locked apartment, leaving behind a single note that read, "Don't let it look through the crack." That night I set up cameras, 2 in the room, one facing the wardrobe, another on me. I placed my phone to record audio. I didn't sleep. I sat in the corner, blanket around my shoulders, watching the clock. At exactly 3:33, everything changed. The lights flickered and then died. The air went still, like the world had paused. Then, slowly, the wardrobe creaked just a little. Just enough to open a crack. I couldn't move. My limbs felt pinned by invisible pressure. The camera blinked red as if still recording, but the screen had gone black. I stared at the crack, and something stared back. Not eyes, not a face, just a presence. Heavy, ancient, cold. It felt like it was pushing into my mind, filling every thought with static. Then it spoke, not out loud. Inside, a voice not made of words but understanding. "You broke the seal. Now you carry the door." The wardrobe snapped shut. The lights came back, and I could move again. I rushed to the camera, heart pounding, and checked the footage. Corrupted. Every second from 3:32 to 3:34 was static. I checked the audio, nothing but a deep, pulsing hum. I thought about leaving, about moving out, but the idea felt wrong. Like the thought wasn't mine. Like something inside me wanted to stay. I started hearing sounds in the apartment during the day. The hum, the whisper. I'd walk past mirrors and catch glimpses of the wardrobe behind me even when I wasn't looking at it. I tried smashing it once, took a hammer to the wood, but it wouldn't crack. It absorbed the blows like it was made of flesh, not oak. One night, I woke up to find the wardrobe gone. Not just opened, gone. The space where it had been was a gaping black hole. I didn't walk toward it. I didn't have to. Something came out. I never saw it directly. Just its shadow stretching across the floor like ink in water. It reached the center of the room and stopped. Then, slowly, it pointed at my door. My front door. I understood the message. Levi grabbed my backpack, whatever clothes I could, and ran. I moved in with a friend, didn't tell him anything, just said my place had mold and bad wiring. But it followed. The first night in his guest room, I woke up at 3:33 a.m., not because of a sound, but because my phone, set to silent, started playing static at full volume. I turned it off and looked around. Everything seemed fine, until I saw the wall. A new crack had formed, and from it, warm air leaked through. That smell again, like wet concrete and candle wax. My friend started acting strange, quiet, nervous. He avoided the guest room. One day I caught him staring at a blank wall, muttering to himself. When I asked what was wrong, he just said, "There's something behind it. I think he brought it." I left that day, got a motel on the edge of town. Cash only. No cameras. I wanted to disappear. I taped every vent, sealed every mirror, unplugged everything. For a while I thought it worked. A week passed. No dreams, no whispers, no 3:33. Then last night, I turned on the sink and red wax poured out. It didn't feel like water, it felt like blood. Thick, warm. I screamed. The motel manager came up, looked at the sink and saw nothing. Clear water. No wax, no smell. But that night, the door appeared, in the middle of the floor. Freestanding. Same wood, same carvings. Same lockless keyhole. It opened at 3:33, and something stepped halfway through. Not a creature, not a person, just ... void shaped like me. It looked like me, but it wasn't. The figure that stepped halfway through the freestanding door had my height, my posture, even wore the same shirt I had thrown into the motel trash 3 days ago. But its movements were all wrong, stilted and heavy like a puppet pretending to be human. I didn't run. I couldn't. My body stayed rooted while my mind screamed. The door stood in the middle of the floor without hinges or support, just a rectangle of wood and shadow held upright by nothing. The air was thick. Breathing became work. My phone buzzed in my pocket and I grabbed it, hoping the noise would break the moment. The screen was black except for one word pulsing in red: return. The figure took another step, and the door behind it widened unnaturally, the edges stretching like fabric. I could see the room again, my old apartment, but distorted. The furniture was there, but wrong, curved where it should be, straight. Colors bleeding into each other. Time didn't move in that space. The candlelight on the floor flickered backward. I tried to scream, but the sound died in my throat. The figure raised its hand and mimicked my every motion half a second late, like it had learned to be me through reflection. Then it smiled. I shouldn't have been able to see that. My own face smiling back at me through a mouth that was too wide, too sharp, filled with teeth that didn't belong in any human jaw. The door slammed shut. The figure vanished. The room returned to silence. I collapsed, sweating, shaking, eyes burning. I left the motel in the morning, just walked until my legs gave out. I didn't know where I was. Just a small bus station on the outskirts of the city. I used a fake name, bought a one-way ticket north, and never looked back. For a while it worked. I moved towns twice, changed phones, cut all contact with friends. No social media, no paper trail. And it stopped. No more 3:33. No more doors. The wardrobe never came back. I started rebuilding. Got a night job, rented a room above a diner, even began to sleep without lights on. Then one night I woke up because someone knocked on the door. Not the front door. The closet. I stared at it for hours. No sound followed. In the morning, I opened it. Empty. I moved out the same day. Now I live in an abandoned cabin in the woods. No electricity, no mirrors, no signal. I cook over fire and sleep with a knife under my pillow. I don't know if it helps. Sometimes at night, I hear whispering in the trees. Sometimes at 3:33, I see shadows that don't move with the wind. But it hasn't found me again. Not fully. Not yet. That's why I'm writing this. If you've found a door that shouldn't be there, if you've heard breathing behind the walls or seen a crack where none should exist, leave. Don't open it. Don't listen. Don't go down the stairs. Because once you do, it knows you. And once it knows you, it wears you. That's what it does. It copies, replaces, waits. I've watched the videos. I know the reflection in the old footage isn't mine. The way it blinks just a second too late. The way it leans slightly to the left when I always lean right. That's not me. It's wearing my skin. Living in my apartment, going to my job, smiling at people I used to know. I don't know how long it's been doing it. I don't know if anyone's noticed. But if someone ever tells you I came back, if I ever knock on your door and say I'm fine, don't let me in. That's not me. I'm here in the woods still trying to forget. But it won't let me. The door returns every full moon now, just for a moment. And every time, it opens a little wider. One day, I won't be fast enough. One day, it will pull me through. And then there'll be nothing left of the real me. Just a smile, a perfect imitation, waiting for someone else to listen at 3:33 a.m.